Let's go, man.
All right. At the top right position as the purple Terran, we will have Flisk. And at the bottom left as the red Zerg, we will have Zaraki.
I thought there for a second that Flisk was Protoss. Oh, weird.
He might be a race picker. I don't know.
No, or maybe I'm confusing him with like I don't know, funny. I don't know. I haven't been paying that much attention to the Brood War scene lately because of work. So many of the players that are very good but haven't been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with their styles, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how they fit into this. The problem is every time they come in, they actually do really well, and it makes me mad that I don't know more about them.
Yeah. That's an excellent point. I mean, but at this point, I've just forgotten everything about everyone, so I'm just like, whatever. Whatever, just casting. I don't know who these guys are, just cast everybody. It's all good. I mean, this might as well be Flash versus J-Dog. Who knows? It could be. You guys don't know that. You guys don't know. I mean, you can't see. There's no player cams. You don't know?
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Overlord. Okay, so nothing too crazy yet for Zaraki. Now, on the side of Flisk, one thing that I always found really interesting, and maybe you can give me a little bit of information about this. Sometimes Terrans build their barracks and their depot at the natural to start making a wall, so they can decide whether they want to go for something like fast expansion, maybe even mech right off the bat. And sometimes they build in the main. So.
Yeah.
Is it always because if you can fully wall, then you want to do it? If you don't, then you don't? Or is it just basically not really the best option to choose one or another, just depending on how you want to play it?
Well, I mean, if you build the barracks on the low ground and he 4-pools, you're like instantly dead. Whereas if you build it on the high ground, you're not. But otherwise, I mean, I guess it's a stylistic thing. I mean, if you're not A-Raxing him or anything, since you can't make like a full wall on the bottom, I think it just makes more sense to build it in the main because then you're safe against any kind of cheese. Even against a 9-pool, I think if you build it on the low ground, you're pretty screwed. So it's usually better to build it in the main. The only time it actually makes the most, that it's always good to build on the low ground, is if you can make a Ling tight wall with like two depots and a barracks. So we saw that a couple of times last week. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Flisk, or no, it's probably someone else. But they always 8-raxed at the choke and then just walled it in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
All right, sweet. Sorry.
Interesting enough. Look, there are 2 SCVs actually scouting, so Flisk was definitely a little bit. Maybe not scared, but wanted to play cautious before taking his own expansion. And it's interesting that as soon as he gets the confirmation of the build, he has enough minerals to drop down the natural. So that in itself tells you quite a lot about the player, that he actually knows pretty well what he's doing.
Yeah, definitely. So that's all good. I think Flisk is like, B-ish rank, and Zaraki is the same. By the way, if you guys hear cat meowing and me occasionally being unfocused, it's because this freaking cat has like pooped on my couch twice in the last couple of weeks. And I'm just like really paranoid that she's gonna do it again. So if I become momentarily distracted, I apologize. The SCV, by the way, has just been taken down by Zerglings. I don't know, man. I mean, cat's paw. You got any advice about cats and paws and how to not make them poop on your couch?
Basically, yeah. The problem is that they don't listen. It doesn't matter what you do. I don't have a cat, so luckily for me, I don't have that problem.
What?
I like dogs.
Dude, that is false advertising. How can you be called cat's paw? You don't even have a cat. What's up with that?
Because that's not from a cat, dude. That doesn't come from a cat. That's from a magazine from Fallout. So from the game Fallout, there is a magazine called Cat's Paw.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, that's where I got the nickname from.
Oh, that's cool. No, that's cool. Cool bit of backstory. I didn't know that. Nice.
Okay, so 2 racks and an academy. Wow. Okay, that's I think that's an extremely early, strong push to try to catch the Zerg of God before he actually has the tech. Because usually you either go 1 racks, you get some kind of a tech, and then you add extra barracks, or you make I don't know, 3 maybe, and you start with a stronger attack with only Marines. But this seems like a middle of the road to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of an older standard, I guess. where you have fewer Marines coming out, but you get the earlier medics, so they can start building up energy more quickly, which allows you to obviously go for that early. Like when the first 2 medics come out, you can basically go pressure, which is really nice, as you said. But yeah, you know, I mean, he's not really going to kill the Zerg or anything. He'll just force a couple of Sunkens, and then once the mutas come out, he'll have to be a bit defensive. But he can obviously go for the factory straight away as well and get that tech out earlier. No, just going for the eBay. All right, it's fine.
Yeah, the reason why I think this is kind of a build that might be a little bit dangerous is because if you don't deal some good damage at the early stage from the move out, and I see there's a firebud building, so probably that's what he's trying to do. If you don't do that and the mutas show up, you don't have actually enough production from the barracks to kind of like survive just with that. So your turret placement has to be really on spot, and you're gonna invest a lot more then on the turrets because you need to cover more area. So I think this attack, the one that's going out, is what Flisk is trying to really get something from. And the Spire is not even started, right? Oh no, oh sorry, yeah, it is at natural.
It is indeed sneakily hidden in the back of the natural. Meanwhile, 3 Sunkens have been forced. That should be enough to deal with these Marines, especially with those Lings hiding on the flank there. Very, very nice. But there, of course, there's no reason for Flisk to move in. You can see he's immediately walking back. He doesn't even check like whether the Sunkens are finished or anything. Oh, did he scan?
Yeah, he's scanned.
Okay.
He saw one done,
yeah.
The second one finishing, and the third not yet done, and that's when he pulled back.
Okay, that makes more sense. I was wondering why he immediately pulled back there. But I mean, either way, he should know that there's no real chance of him attacking there, unless the Zerg makes a pretty big mistake or is like way too cocky. Oh, looks like a couple Zergans getting taken out. No, just one. But yeah, looks like going for the factory now off of just the 3 barracks. So gonna play a little bit defensive now with his lower Marine count, and we just do see the normal 3-hatch muta. I do believe there are only 8 morphing right now, probably because he had to make those extra Sunkens. Is that only 8, or are these eggs just stacked really well?
I mean, well, there's some like a drone here or there, and I think it's gonna be 8, 9. It's gonna be 9. It's gonna be 9 in total. But there's one at the
okay, yeah. He just made another in the natural, so it's a little bit slower. All right, that's cool.
I mean, in a way, I actually think that Flisk has dealt with it relatively well. I mean, considering that he has only like 3 barracks, he didn't lose anything, so that's probably why he still has a pretty decent force.
Yep, indeed. Meanwhile, we're on SCV, gonna get picked off at the front, but he's got a decent turret coverage. These turrets are, I mean, they're hugging the CC. I thought you can place these a little bit more to the left, and that would have got better coverage, because as it is, the mutas can definitely pick off SCVs at the back there. Looks like they're instead gonna abuse this cliff by the natural and pick off Marines. Doing a pretty good job with this muta micro. Wow, very, very good muta micro. Although he does lose one. Oh, and the Ling's coming in at the same time. Zaraki pulling the double move here. Really, really nice.
And so many SCVs have fallen. I think that like the damage just from these Zerglings is more than enough to kind of make this game really in his favor.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. Almost, well, only a handful of SCVs left, and also lost most of the Marines. However, Zaraki did trade pretty much his entire muta and Ling force for that, and he hasn't actually started the 3rd hatchery yet. He has enough minerals. Presumably, he's just too busy microing the mutas, so that's a bit of a mistake. That hatchery should have started by now. If this hatchery had started, you know, like 30 seconds to a minute ago, that would have been really, really good, but it's a little bit late. It's okay because he still has the map presence. Terran is still a little bit scared to move out, but definitely could have been better there.
Yeah, and lurkers already are kind of like coming up, so definitely at least the tech is coming down relatively well for Zaraki, as well as a Queen's Nest. And this is an 8-minute, like 30-second Queen Nest. So considering that so many Marines died and also some SCVs, I think this is going to be...
Wait, it's the double Queen's Nest.
Well, I mean, why build one when you can build 2, right?
It's for the double upgrades, guys. It's the new meta. I mean, you saw double Robo say Reaver last game. Well, now we've got the double Queen's Nest ZVT. You guys don't even know what's happening right now. We are redefining the meta today in TLS.
And to be fair, one thing that actually makes me like really laugh when I see, because when a Zerg does it, you actually have to pick a drone and then make a building, right? So you'd think that it's easier to remember that you already made one than like, I don't know, making an eBay or an armory or maybe something like that. But okay, you know, it can still be efficient at some point. You know, if you do want to get the upgrades later on.
I tell you what's going to happen. This is going to be like a 50-minute game, and Zaraki's actually gonna get dropped in his main. He's gonna lose his hive and 1 queen's nest, but because he had 2 queen's nest, he's gonna be able to instantly rebuild his hive at another base just because he had the 2nd queen's nest. Guys, watch, Zaraki is actually a strategic genius.
No, dude, if that happens, Zaraki is not strategical genius. She basically sees into the
Oh god,
future.
stop lurkers, but they're spotted.
Yeah, good for Flisk though. I mean, with that vessel, you know, going from the front.
Yep. Good times.
There's only 3 lurkers there, right?
There were, yes. He's got some more mutilating, but it's not a very big army.
Yeah, it's actually very small.
It's a bit scary. Hive is only just now finishing, so Defilers are quite a ways off. He's going to have to deal with this with brute strength here. This might have been actually the problem with sacrificing his mutilating force earlier, is that he's vulnerable. He's left himself open to this counterattack. What is he going to do? He's going to... Okay, I think he's going to interrupt the reinforcements while he tries to macro up a few more units at his natural, and then he can go for the pincer.
Well, what he's losing a lot of Zerglings right now to these Marines at the front, so...
Oh god, is he just gonna go? Whoa, Terran should not be going here. He needs to just siege down the Sunkens.
Yeah, definitely. And he already is starting to lose a few.
Zaraki's gonna catch the siege tanks! Oh, this is huge! Oh my god, 1 siege tank falls! The second one is under fire from the Sunken colonies. Huge catch, and that immediately stops the Terran attack. No way he can break this without those tanks. Big mistakes from both players. Zaraki allowing a lot of those units to die for free, but then Terran critically losing his tanks. Sad
yeah. I mean, this is going to make the game a lot longer, but the problem is that Hive is finished, the Filer Mount just finished, and Consume is starting right away. There's no downtime there. So if that actually goes that way, and Flisk is like getting mines, but he's still on 2 bases.
That is true, and he's about to face a bit of a counterattack here. No, not so much a counterattack as perhaps just denying a retreat, denying reinforcements. This attack is a little bit confusing. I mean, he has killed a decent amount of units here, but the main army is coming back. And the lurkers are going to get irradiated. The Marines are going to walk in, though. Oh my god, the Marines are going to walk in. Oh, but the other one's not shooting them. And that's that. And the bunker survives.
I mean, we do see like 3-4 factories this time, but with only 2 bases? Oh no, okay, there is a 3rd. Just not on location, it's just going to fly from the main. So... okay, it might work, but I mean, whoa, wait a second. Zaraki doesn't have any defense on his 3rd?
Yeah, he does have the Nidus Canal though. Although the exit looks like it's not quite done, but it's almost done, so he should be able to get units over there in time to defend this. I actually do remember now. Flisk, I think last weekend played that really long 3-game series where he did actually do this style of going mech very, very early. And I was questioning it because it's really hard to get those resources in time, although he does kind of go very Vulture heavy in the beginning, so it's sort of okay. But, well, let's see what he can do here. He's going to have to wait for the Irradiate to take out these Lurkers, but by then the Defiler, or sorry, the units should be coming out of this Nidus Canal if Zaraki's paying attention. Yeah, there we go.
That is still not too many units. I mean... Well, there's no Irradiate to kind of kill that one Lurker that's still there. Oh, the nice save on the Lurker.
Very, very nice. Oh, and the Marines haven't even pulled back yet.
Yeah, because Flisk probably thought, oh, it's gonna die, I'm gonna look somewhere else.
Yep. But at the very least, he does get the 3rd base and keep the pressure on. So, 2 important things. So, Flisk, 1, has now got equal bases with the Zerg player. And 2, he's got the map presence, which means he can actually lay mines wherever he wants. That's actually very important. I mean, he is laying a few defensively, but he should start laying them outside of these naturals. So the Zerg's natural and the outside the 2nd natural, I guess, whatever this is called. And that'll give him a lot of map control.
Ooh, Flisk is losing some units and it needs... And not really good because, and to be fair, at this point when you're making the mech switch, the biggest problem is usually that if you don't have a force like moving on out there, until you do get some mech units, they're actually not that efficient against Zerg, because Zerg just starts making Zerglings, and you have to control all the time against them, while the Zerg just does something else.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's why we usually only see the mech switch once it's like really late in the game. Because, you know, in these low numbers, it's basically the same as TVP. You know, the low number, in the low army counts, the Zerg is just going to be so much more efficient than you. You really need like the solid core of tanks to just blow everything up and get mines everywhere. Looks like some floating barracks taking some Scourge hits here, but now Zaraki's able to get his 4th base. Some Vultures are coming in. I don't think they'll be able to do anything, even if they mine this up. It'll be a bit tricky. So Zaraki at least will have 4 bases. Potentially the 6 o'clock as well. No, this is a Zergling. Never mind.
I do think though that Ultras, because I do see that Ultra speed is already being done. I wonder if that's the good idea, because at this point there's a lot of gas, yes, but that gas is definitely needed for defilers at this point. And if you spend too much on the Ultras only on 4 bases, then suddenly you die to a few mines and you have 0 army. So I'm not sure that's the best move. Although, to be fair, one thing that Zaraki does need to do is constantly try to send Zergling packs one way or another to not only move the mines, but if he can find an empty base that he can harass, he definitely is going to get kills before the army of the turn can get there.
And he does that exactly as you say it. 2 random lings coming into the 3 o'clock. Unfortunately for him, he didn't send more lings over here, but he's going to get an SCV kill at least, and a bit of scouting information. In the meantime, another base being taken by Flisk. Notice, of course, he's taking the closer bases. He does have the less mobile mech army, so he's got to take bases closer to him in order to defend them. And is otherwise doing a decent job. I'm a little bit surprised Zaraki hasn't taken advantage to spread out on the map more. He's actually banking quite a bit of money. I don't know if this is saving for Ultralisks or just a macro error.
I don't think it's a macro error, because he is sending Zerglings one. Oh, 2 vessels actually get picked up by some Scourge, so pretty decent so far. We're going for Zaraki. I think it's basically for the Ultras. Yeah, there you go. That most of the money just went away.
Hey, the classic. Oh, I have 2K. I was just saving for Ultras. It's my excuse anyway for having bad macro.
But you're brothers, though.
Hey, man. Details. Details. It's unnecessary. Come on, dude. You're supposed to go with it.
I mean, in a way, you can kind of mind control a drone and eventually get Zerg, you know, the race, and eventually make Ultras. So yeah, you're technically correct.
Exactly. And that's, of course, the best kind of correct, so, you know. There we go. GG. Alright, bit of an attack coming in here. Mech army moving down, but there's the Dark Swarm, so gonna have to back up.
And these kind of trades are really efficient for Zaraki.
Yep.
Flisk has, like, the core to get a lot of units, to get a huge army, but until then, he has to actually be quite careful, because if he starts losing tanks... Oh, okay, actually those Ultras not that smart going alone.
Oh my god. Zaraki right-clicked his minimap and sent the Defiler to the wrong place at the top left. He sent half the units to the bottom of the cliff, and half are on the cliff.
Oh.
That's actually so funny to see. It's clearly he just like clicked them on the minimap and didn't look at them. Oh god. Alright, well at least he's doing a good job here at the bottom. He has taken the 6 o'clock base, so trying to stay ahead of the Terran on bases, that is actually quite important, especially because the Terran's going mech.
The bad part, really, that I think, is when you're playing Zerg and the Terran, actually, that I don't even know who thought about this the first time, but this kind of mech switch is something really annoying, because your entire build order that is basically, okay, I get the fighters and then you're pretty much dead because Bio just doesn't do anything, is like, nope, now I got something completely different and you have to somehow find a way to deal with it. So it's really, really annoying to play against this kind of style from Terran.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, a bunch of Lurkers running around, but Lurkers are pretty terrible against mech. The mech just has too much HP and doesn't clump enough to make the Lurkers effective. And random Ultras are dying. I don't really like this from Zaraki. It's okay to trade like Hydras and Lings, but sacrificing random Ultralisks is pretty bad. I think, see, look at this.
Yeah.
It's just, they're going in 2 at a time against a decent mech ball right now. Even though they're well upgraded 4-2, there's just way too many units. So he just lost like 6 Ultras without really doing that much.
Yeah, and he's been doing this for a little bit of time. It's not like it's the first kind of loss that he takes like this.
Oh, but now the Terran doesn't pay attention, and he's fighting the Ultras underneath the swarm. Oh man, both players losing a little bit of control. But look at the minimap. Terran is expanding to like every base. What the? Okay, and there's still that group of Defiler, that group of Lings with the Defiler that Zaraki just put in the wrong place. That could actually now help him because it's now going to be able to attack that base or both those bases.
Now, you know, the main problem I think is that there are no support units for these Ultras. They're just going alone all the time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They need the supporting Lings, even some supporting Hydras at this point. I mean, I'm not really sure. Oh, but we have a Vulture harass here at the 6 o'clock. A lot of kills on these Vultures. I don't know if these are all drones or some Zerglings as well, but cleared out the mineral line there. So Zaraki losing that base and still no counter pressure on the top side. He needs to go for the 12 o'clock or the top left. Look at this. 12 o'clock is completely undefended. He needs to go for this base. 3 o'clock as well.
Oh man, wait a second. Are we seeing kind of a switch of races? Isn't the Zerg supposed to be the one that's expanding like this?
You're absolutely right. Oh, hold that thought though. We finally have some ultras with
Nah.
lings in the middle of the map. The
There
tanks
you
are
go.
unsieged. Oh,
Now that's what
big
I'm talking
catch.
about.
Big catch here in the middle of the map. You're getting a lot of free kills. And now the 3 o'clock is under threat. I really wish Zaraki... Oh, Zaraki found these units. He plagued an SCV? What the... There's a plagued SCV here for some reason.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Look, I'm trying to think about something clever, but like when you see something like that, there's nothing clever coming from it. Like, it's impossible, basically.
Oh man. Well, at least finally Zaraki's on top of it. 3 o'clock base is almost certainly going to have to be lifted here. What the? GG! All planned. Oh. Okay. It was the plague, man. It was the one SCV plague that just scared him. He's like, what? What is this?
You know, I don't get that at all, but I guess there was something quite important going on that we missed. I mean, we had to have missed something, right?
I think the problem was he realized he couldn't act. So he can't defend the top left 2 bases. If he commits his entire army, he can maybe hold the 3 o'clock, but he'd have to like lose a lot of mining time there. And then obviously the 12 o'clock, he barely held it. So it's a problem. I think it just shows the problem with switching to mech too early. He didn't quite, like he was barely holding on to map control, but didn't really have it the whole time. So he couldn't get mines in really good places. And thus Zaraki, even though he suicided a lot, was able to just like keep spamming units and stop the Terran before he gets the death ball. That's a crucial thing. Like, even though he lost some units for nothing, he didn't let Terran get, the maxed out, well-upgraded mech army, and eventually just managed to sort of multitask, out-attack him.
Yeah, I mean, probably there was also the problem that if you take so many bases and you have so many SCVs, when you're actually trying to make a big army, you don't get enough of it. And at the same time, you have so many bases at different areas. So as soon as you start losing units, right, and you don't have a good enough core that one side you're defending and the other side you're attacking, then 10 Zerglings here, 20 Zerglings there, and everything just goes to hell.
Absolutely, absolutely. Actually, I just thought of another thing, is that oftentimes double expanding like that is an indication that you had too many minerals because you weren't macroing properly. And it's just kind of like, oh, I have 3,000 minerals, I'll just build 2 command centers because I can afford it. So that also might have contributed to why he didn't have enough units, is just mechanical error.
Well, I mean, he did have, like, I think it was, what, 6 factories total?
Yeah.
So he had basically the same amount of factories as expansions. So at that point, something's going kind of in the wrong direction, right?
Yes.
Yeah, might have had something to do with that.
That is an excellent point. All right, well.